What's up, guys, and welcome back. So on this one, we've got a really nice special guest, one of my good friends, one of my, I don't know, I'll say one of the best friends in the Eastgate community, moving up the inner circle of the Wolfpack, which will be revealing more and more as things go past. If we can get the Wolfpack together, I'm saying that over to you guys, Scott and Craig, to get you guys together. But yeah, we've got Drew here, Dre Elia, from a YouTube content creator who's basically thrown his heart, soul, and everything he has left into Eastgate, got the bug, got the virus, and started grinding in more and more in the community. But without further ado, we'll bring him in, let him introduce himself, and let's talk more about Drew. And here he is.
Wow, man, that was a great intro there. Thanks.
Well, it's about to. That's too low.
I would definitely say, yeah, best friends in Eastgate. This is awesome.
Yeah, for sure, man. This is going to be a really nice, chilled one. Be kind to Drew. He's been grinding multiple lifestyles all at once, and he's getting himself spending some time with us to talk about, you know, the grind and the life of a YouTuber and e-skater. So, Drew, do you want to do a little introduction for people who may not know who you are, your involvement, and a little bit about backstory about yourself, bro?
Sure. So, Dre Elia at DE Drones on Instagram there, but it is been e-skating now for about 2 years. YouTubing coming up, I think, on 2 years this upcoming late January. Been content creating, but yeah, I've been surfing, snowboarding, skateboarding my entire life, and this has been just a next evolution in that, and it's just great. When you're a kid, you're going downhill, and now I can ride the skateboard back up the hill, and it's fantastic in that sense. Been doing commercial shooting and videography and photography for over 15 years now. When COVID hit, I had all my accounts canceled on me, so I wanted to do something. I went out and bought a one wheel and just rode around, started making videos on that, and then got into e-skate through that, and the rest is history. If you guys watch my channel and get to meet people like Thomas and do these incredible new adventures and stuff like that. So apologies if I sound horrible. I shot a 14.5-hour day yesterday at a wedding, and so coffee and water.
Well, this is the point. It's like we present ourselves how we want to be presented and stuff like that. But, it's making it a bit real, isn't it? Like, 14.5 hours shoot, doing a wedding miles away, on these other side of life that we do, and then bringing it all back to, do you treat e-skating YouTube as a job, a hobby, a passion? Where does that sit for you at this point?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask my wife, it's taken over my life. But it's definitely, I would say that it was something that I kind of at first just started filming. I literally filmed, I think, my first videos on my cell phone, and I didn't even bring out like all my professional equipment and stuff like that. And then I entered the Meepo contest. This was back in 2021, I think, maybe 2020. And I entered the Meepo contest. I put like a little montage together of me just riding around. I maybe actually had the drone. And otherwise, I posted this video up, and they reached out to me, and they're like, "Congratulations, you won a board." I'm like, "I won a board," and it was the V4. So that's really what it kicked off, like the whole more diving into the review stuff of it. I started doing a review on that. Then I got another reached out from another company, and just kind of started going from there. And I putting a lot more passion and I would say the years of experience I have inside of filmmaking to be able to create the content, and hopefully it shows. I don't know.
No, it's good. It's good. And you're saying it's a bit like with the Meepo, is like the first one is free, isn't it? And then you go down the rabbit hole further there.
So I bought my Hurricane, and so I got a V4 for free, but I bought my Hurricane. That was the first board I actually paid a lot of money for. I had the V3 before then, so I bought that used secondhand, and I think that was maybe $200 or something like that. And that was what really kickstarted my passion for e-skating. And then the Hurricane was coming out at that point, and I was like, the specs were insane, the price was perfect. Still spending I spent $1,000 on the one wheel pint. So I was like, all right, well, the one wheel pint doesn't go as fast, as far, it doesn't have changeable wheels, and it's a skateboard. So I just wanted to get back into skateboarding. So I went there and did that, and truly loved it in that sense. There it is. Dude.
Do you still have it or no? I want to know.
No, I sold it. So it was really sad because my son Porter really liked riding it. That was actually probably one of the only, because it didn't have a remote control. He could just lean forward, lean backwards. So he really loved riding that, and he would kind of hold my hand. Then he started getting more confident on it, and it just sat there forever. Especially after I started skating more and reviewing more boards, and I just felt bad that it was such a nice piece of equipment to sit there, and I was just I'm never gonna really use this again, and I don't want it to waste. So I put it on Facebook Marketplace and sold it. But yeah, the guy who bought it was pretty pumped on it, and he was using it for him and his daughter as well too. So I was glad to go new home. But yeah, that was that day I got those rails and everything like that, and I dubbed it Floating Broccoli was the name of it.
It's amazing.
Floating,
do you know what?
Floating broccoli.
I do think next year in EastGateCon, we need to do a multi-PEV showdown. Just and literally whack everything down and just make it fun. I'd say Low City Surf, what's up, man? Nice to see you on the channel, loving the stuff. Don't know what that one is, but yeah, I think it's
that's an inside joke, yeah.
Literally. But yeah, so it's interesting to see, like you said before, about you doing like the cinematography, doing through work, and it's it's a second job alongside what you do already. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I always find it interesting doing these kind of deep dives of people's history and where they've come from to get where they're going. So before Eastgate, I need to ask, like, before that was kind of the thing, I know that obviously fitness and being an absolute weapon is apparently the thing to do. Like, do you still do the CrossFit stuff? And
so
literally,
no. Yeah, the CrossFit lifestyle is completely faded out for us, just with the 2 kids and stuff like that. We were going to the gym. So my wife and I were like changing different days. So like I would go in the morning, she would go at night. And we're just trying to rotate it back and forth. And then again, like COVID hit and it all shut down. So then we were doing at-home workouts, and then it became just like a whole different lifestyle. Yeah, that was a good day. That was like one of my PR days, actually.
Because when I was breaking, I couldn't do this. Yeah, I'm going down. That is hard.
Yeah,
yeah,
I can still do that a little bit better now, actually.
Oh, really? You still got that on lockdown, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that the prior passion before the Eastgate, like CrossFit and competing and doing that kind of stuff?
So, even going further back here, so I came out of college. I was working out in college. I would surf all the time, skateboard all the time, but like really was like lifting and things like that. Then I met my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, and she was going to the gym with her friends, and she's like, "You should try this CrossFit thing." I'm like, "No, CrossFit's like, man, I'm cool, like whatever. I'll go to the gym doing like other things." And then one day we were like, we were hanging out, and she literally like airplaned me with her legs and like launched me across the room, and I was like, "You're stronger than me right now." And I was like, I couldn't stop that, so I was like, let me try this thing out. So I went and checked it out, and CrossFit was great. It was one of those like things that really got me into probably one of the better shapes of my life, and actually started a whole nother side career. That was, I started a company with my friend which was called Paleo Box Meals, and it was a paleo meal delivery service, and we actually linked up with Google, and we were shipping all over the United States. And that worked out for probably like almost a year and a half until we just it just dissolved at the end of it all. It became too much money going towards other things. It was just a whole mess. But yeah, we dissolved that. But yeah, for a year and a half, I was running a company called Paleo Box Meals, where we were selling like frozen box meals for people, which was pretty cool.
It's mad to see all these like stars aligned and going on. One thing you said as well, you said you've been doing YouTube for 2 years, but I don't necessarily think that's true, because one of the early ones here, like, this is fun. YouTube been sit for, if I look at it, 11 years now.
11 years ago, yeah. So this is my first board. These are the days where I used to bomb hills and on a GoPro stick, and 11 years ago. Yeah, 11 years ago.
That's 11 years. 11 years.
Yeah, that was. I think I just picked up that Sector 9. I was definitely out of college, so I don't know how long ago. But yeah, that was that was
testing you. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I used to go to this park and bomb these hills on this thing with no helmet on and just go stupid. So,
do you feel like these kind of things early days has set you up to think about how I want to film things nowadays, like these small events, these small things along the way, being like all these different demographics you've worked along the way is presented where you get your YouTube content nowadays?
Yeah, I would say that was like the difference, is that coming into YouTube, like becoming like a content creator, whatever it is, reviewer, I had the technical background for everything. So as far as like filming wise and being able to like get the shot, I had that knowledge. My problem was being in front of the camera, and realistically, like I never was on this side of the camera. So if you watch like my first YouTube review videos, I'm like, the board is like 8 inches long and 9. I was like, it just looks like so not what it is now. And I've also like had this whole it's just same room, same disaster of a room right now.
But I think it makes it organic for sure. But you see what I mean? But that's the thing. It's like you're used to being behind the camera and telling your subject on how to do it, isn't it? And then it's like, well, actually, you have to do all these elements. But this, I was going to ask you, because this is one of the early days videos and things. But 8.4K views for a first comment. Is that what spiked to go like, I'm really gonna go for this going forward?
So
is that kind of like the first hit?
Yeah. The Hurricane was wildly popular, and when I got it, I did the pre-order. So it took, I think, 2 months from the day I put down $1,500 or $1,400 down, and never got a product for 2 months. Like, imagine that. And people are complaining about 7-day ship times.
They need to bring back their hair, Drew. Apparently, you need to bring. It's a style.
Well, he's
yes, he's in there as well.
Yeah, it was. That was the Hurricane was the launch of it. I would say that a lot of people, because it was honestly in a world that was all of these exterior boxes and like separate boxes, longboard styles, and this 2-in-1 carbon fiber board coming out. That was like great specs, great battery, great everything. It was a good step in the right direction for Meepo, and that kind of like launched it for them. And I would say the same thing. A lot of people were interested in skateboarding and saw that board. I think they really wanted to like get more information from it. So I know that it was a wildly popular video, and that really pushed it was a fun ride. 29 miles of range on those wheels or something like that. It was just a long.
It's mad actually. You think actually how far street wheels really go, and so actually it's a good segment. Do you prefer street or AT most of the time?
That's such a hard question, because every wheel is different, and that's why I know, like, I see Fred and stuff like that in the chat here, and we talk about all different sides. That wheels are the most like crucial thing. Obviously, it's the 4 things that are touching the ground, and every single company makes something different. Soft wheels, hard wheels, stone wash finish, everything along those lines that way. Different bearings, and I always encourage people, like, they're like, oh, my roads are too rough. I'm like, I guarantee your roads are not that rough. It's just like, it might be uncomfortable to ride on per se a little bit, but 105 millimeter urethane wheel, like a Mad Wheel or like the Dad Bods or something like that, those things are revolutionary. I mean, I'm riding back in the day on like Cheerio wheels when I was like on my skateboard going over like legitimately cobblestone streets and like riding around these Cheerio wheels. So like when I started riding Eastgate and I was riding 97 millimeter wheels, even longboard wheels are like 78 millimeters, like, and that's considered a big wheel for a longboard wheel. So it's like, yeah, when these 97 millimeter, 100 millimeter, 105 millimeter, 120 millimeter rubber, and like, they're great. And I think I lean personally, I like the ride feel and everything like that as far as a urethane, but I understand the HE tire thing. And on boards like the Nomad, the Tabor, on the X-Way, like the off-roading stuff, like the Atlas, I get it, and there's a place for it, and I love it, and the grip is there. But yeah, if I'm just going out skateboarding, like I want a skateboard-esque feel, so I want that street style feel. So I do tend to lean more towards that than I do anything else. So
it's a bit of an open question. Flexible. It's whatever this feeling is in the day, isn't it? Really, but I think that's a benefit. Like Fred always preaches about. It's the versatility of 2-in-1 series of that. One thing I was going to say as well, I actually discovered your. You're okay, Joe? I'm
changing my white balance because I look pale. So there we go.
He's alive. He's got a soul. I was going to say, like, I actually discovered your channel. I don't know how this communication ended up starting. I don't know. It was you, me, you, whatever. But when you did the Hoyt video, was like my first kind of introduction to
you. Yeah,
the channel,
you and I started talking around.
Oh yeah, I was like, I want to. Yeah. I think that's what brought me to yourself, and I wanted to ask questions about that and whatnot, because it was like unobtainable. Yeah, well, I won't go into that. I wanted. It was no content. I was like, who's this guy who's come out of a really good first video, like these shots like that, lovely, like, and getting a relationship. Like, how did that come around? Being opportunity to do like one of the most boutique boards out there straight away.
So that was an incredible collaboration on Jackson Hewitt's part. So Jackson Lewis, he works for Hoyt. He lives in New Jersey. He was a New York City rider. I got connected through the NYC crew, and we were always riding together. And we like met once. And Mario, who's also a wheeltuber, who's also on YouTube as well, he was reviewing that board, and Jackson like was in the chat, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sending the board to Mario," and I just reached out to him in that chance, and I was like, "Hey, would you mind if like I took it for a day, or I met up with Mario, like I'll drive up there and just like spend an hour with it or something like that?" He's like, "No, man." He's like, "You and Mario, like," he's like, "We'd love to have you on there." So I was like, "Cool." So I drove up to Mario's, picked up the board. Rode around with it for I think maybe 72 hours, and then Mario came back down, picked it up. We were filming something else together on that day. It was like a bomb explosion bag series that was crazy to watch. So that's how I literally got connected with it. Is that Jackson was friends with everyone in the group chat. I kind of snuck my way into that group chat when I started riding in New York City with those guys, and then Mario and me linked up, and I got to ride that board. And an incredible opportunity, and I truly love the Hoyt family, that the whole Metro board and Zubom family. They do make quality products, and I one of my favorite boards. So,
are you going to get an opportunity? Because I know you've also had a lot of the Hoyt stuff. Do you reckon you're going to get some of the Metro stuff as well alongside?
I don't know.
Well?
I actually did mention to him. So I know that the Pathfinder just got announced and is in production. I know they've been going through a little bit of production hell, but they're pretty squared up now. So it's like they get in, they can make like a bunch of boards, and they're pretty much already pre-ordered, paid down. So like they're making boards and they're going right back out. So I know you have to check their website, message them on Instagram. They're very active on the Instagram there. So you can message them and just kind of reach out and say like, what's the availability like, and how long is the wait time? But I know that Jackson and them have been pumping out some all the Tabers that have been coming out, the Dad Bods have been coming out, and now the Pathfinders are underway there as well too. So that's all under one umbrella, the Zubom family umbrella there.
Do you feel like it's finally coming together for them now? Kind of, this kind of build up, and it's finally being released.
It's hard to with the UAV when you have a price point at, and I think that's kind of like the thing is like, and we actually talked about this, like it's specs on a sheet of paper mean absolutely nothing to a rod feel underneath your feet. And I think I've proven that in one of my other videos, which wasn't the most scientific video. I got such crap for it, which was my uphill battle test, which was like the M Boards Endurance, the Hoyt, the X-Way Atlas Pro, and the Meepo Hurricane. And I should have done it a little bit differently. I'll probably end up redoing something similar to it as well too, and just starting off. But long story short, that board, the Hoyt, a 12S4P, all of them were 12S4Ps. That board obviously had more stability, like just handling and stuff like that. You just hop in this thing, and it feels like a Cadillac, and it rides like a Ferrari. So
I do believe nowadays the power is almost irrelevant at that point, because the fastest board is the one you feel the most comfortable on. Right. But then you said to me about the whole kind of the comparison video, you got a lot of hate, but it's like I said, someone's going to be like, it's a talking spot. It's one of the most engaging videos on your channel. Is it? It's a perspective, and it's, let the comments fly away and let them have their own perspective.
Yeah, I said that. It is. It's because you can race against other people, but putting one person on the board, like that's what I wanted to do. Is like I wanted to have myself, who I've ridden these boards. I had more experience on other ones than I did on it. I mean, the Meepo Hurricane I had the most experience on. I have over 500, 600 miles on that board, and it was dead last. I just didn't feel comfortable on it. I don't know what it was that day or whatever it was, but yeah,
you're squirrely as well. If you look at it,
it's so you also have to know is that these roads, and people like they don't realize that these roads are not perfect. Like it's not perfectly smooth. Like I'm hitting these, like the shadows are playing tricks in my eyes, and I'm going through, and there's like these chunks of like they were doing construction work on it, essentially. It wasn't smooth in certain parts. And I said, I'm like, there's crumbles, and then like it's just like jagged rock, like pothole almost. And I was trying to avoid them, but I'm also trying not to get hit by a car in front of me. And then my wife is driving behind me, and she's watching me climb this hill. Yeah, so like I had four boards loaded in the car, and she's following up behind me. My kids are in the car. My son's yelling like, "Go!"
Oh god! Oh my god! Yeah, that's the stuff we don't find out about the video. That's horrible, because it's like, oh, Daddy's in front. Oh, please don't go down. I've got James in here as well. So, what's up, James? Nice to hear you. But I was going to say to you as well, I got one from Benny, Eastgate legend, because he's Mr. Shortboard. Meepo Flow or Tiny Stinger Wide?
So I have both the boards. I'm not going to lie to you, I stepped on the Stinger for probably like 30 seconds. So I haven't gotten a full assessment of it. It's heavy. It's a 12S3P, 544 watt hour, just beefcake of a board, same size as the Flow, So as far as like length and everything like that, same size, and I think truck placement as well. But the wheels are those 100 millimeter like hydro wheels versus the 105 Meepo Cyclone wheels. So I don't know. Honestly, I
so once again, it comes down to wheels again. So you need more time, basically.
Yeah, I need more time. But I think that the Stinger is going to be a very, very good competitor against it, especially if someone's looking for like a board that they don't want to charge for 2 weeks at a time and be able to run around, do errands, and you know, have a really fun car feel. It's very, very carvy.
Let's throw out a controversial one, you know, because why not? You know, it's not my channel. You could do a 3-way. There's a 3-way there with the Enrique.
The Enrique. Pronounce it. Come on.
Enrique. Yeah, there you go. There it is. Yeah. The people know. We want to know.
It's French. The parlez-vous français, you have to have in your throat. The Enrique. So it's not the Enrique, or the the Enrique is it's a fantastic board. It's loaded. Loaded.
Sorry, you got me there for a second.
Loaded did a great job. I mean, they took obviously they're one of the best deck builders out there, and other companies use them that are under the radar as well too. But I can't speak about it. But yeah, there's something about a company that has been over a decade that I've ridden. I have their Vanguard series. I've had their other downhill boards. They just literally have an incredible knowledge of tech of boards, and you don't realize how much tech goes inside these boards. And the foot placement, the pockets, the tail, the everything about it, the concave inside this board, they really did a fantastic job. And it's those little tiny nuances that it's maybe on someone who's never stepped on a board before, they might say, and they're like, oh yeah, this is cool. But someone that's like a rider that's been testing a lot of boards, been riding a lot of downhill boards, riding a lot of just everything, it's a different feel. And again, I think also the loaded wheels as well too. Those Kuguamas are pretty on par. And
so it's a bit like a nostalgia board. That's something dreamed together, having the collab.
Exactly. Basically. Yeah. It's. I know it's like weird to say, but it's. And I think I forget. I said it the other day to someone, and they said that someone else said it. It's more of a skateboard ride feel than any other skateboard I've been on. So as far as like. It just feels like a skateboard. Like you can get on it. I know it's not the longest distance, like 15 miles of range.
Because you mentioned that a lot in your video. It's bringing it back to grassroots a lot more.
Yeah. So we skateboard community has started. E-skate community has started going the direction where they make electric vehicles. And I think actually your interview, Jeff said that it's like that people are making electric vehicles. Boards that do 40 plus miles an hour at 50 miles of range with just insane power and awesome like trucks and stuff like that. A huge placement, but like electric skateboarding is electric skateboarding. Like I can't take a 40 mile an hour board to a skate park and be able to like hit a pump track, but I can take a mini short board that looks like a skateboard, that has some hub motors inside of it, that has some belt drive boards inside of it, that has a little bit of power. Maybe it goes 12 miles, maybe it goes 22 miles of range, and still can hit 30 miles an hour, sure. But I can take that to the track, like to a pump track, and be able to whip around that. And that's where I still feel like an electric skateboard has its place. There's EVs, like personal electrical vehicles, that are these massive boards that I love riding, and they're incredibly awesome. And then there's like electric skateboards. It's almost like we've divided, with the advancement of technology we've gone to, it's almost like as a community, it's like it's been dividing it and pulling further away from that. So
I agree with that a lot, to be honest, because I've been riding tanks for ages, and which is great fun. It's exciting, exhilarating, stuff like that. But I suppose the short board and what you're saying, like one thing I'm looking to do for my channel is trying to have more kind of smaller commuter boards, because it's like I remember when I done my knee in at Skate Con, I was riding that Ace deck. I can't remember what number or coordinates it was defined as, but that little carbon board around, and it was just great fun having like a little short board or whatnot. I was going to say to you as well, like I'm going to say it. It's a bit of a goofball with your content as well. Like, is that just you being you in your content, and obviously like the family stuff as well?
Yeah, my whole, so again, back to high school. Let's go all the way back there. I did theater in high school, so I was originally like a stage producer, and I was doing production and building sets and building things like that. And I was always just goofing around and singing and stuff like that behind stage. And then finally my director was like, It's like, you have to try out for us. You can't have. He's like, you're a good singer. He's like, you have a funny persona about you. He's like, we have a part for you. I want you to try out. And I was like, no, I don't want to be on stage. Again, I'm not someone that wants to be necessarily in the spotlight. That's odd for a person that like what we do. But at the same time, I was like, all right. So I tried out for it. I got the role, and that's where I started like learning, like, I guess, like theatrical stuff a bit. So so like the whole Dr. Eastgate stuff, the bro surfer stuff, and the funny like kind of comedy things is just me just being me, and that's like my day-to-day life goofballness that shines through. So hopefully people dig it. I think people have. They're like the WAP like
No.
that. People dig that stuff. So
Do you feel like that's just? Do you find that when you're obviously YouTubing, filming, family, everything that is doing those kind of elements, is that your inner voice just saying just go for it, have a laugh a bit, and that's kind of like you switching off when you're making content as well?
I'm pretty goofy. I mean, when I'm not on screen there too. So I like just my kids and stuff like that. We always just goof around. My wife, I'm always goofing around. So I'm kind of a practical joker. I know of Fred and a few guys that I've hung out with, and you as well too, that they've seen my off-camera side is pretty much still a pretty joking kind of guy. So
I'm telling you now, next year, EastgateCon, or the trip of EastgateCon, there's going to be challenges for the week. I'm putting them down. There's going to have to be stuff as well. I've got a couple of chats I want to put in here, actually. I've got one here.
What do we got here? Land yachts versus loaded. Which you prefer? So I've only ridden one land yacht board. Crap, I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't the dinghy, because the dinghy was their short board. It was a long board. And it's actually been used a lot in the Eastgate DIY world. It's a very, very thick deck, split angle. I have to look it up. But it was stiff. It was super stiff. It's like a crazy thick maple deck. It holds like 400 pounds. It's just like a crazy long road. And that was really nice. I never rode an Eastgate version of it. It was just downhill cruiser of it. And that was a really fun board. But yeah,
I think you might have had one from Unity. Was it the Evo?
Evo, yes, the Evo. Thank you. So that was a really fun board to be able to bomb down a hill and have. That was probably the first time I've actually stepped on a split angle deck in my life, and I was, 18, 19 or something like that at that point. So that was a lot of fun to be able to rip down a hill on that. And then wapa, wapa. And loaded is I've owned Vanguard, so the boosted boards was buying the Vanguard boards, and that's where boosted board started. Their entire boosted journey was on the loaded Vanguard and the orangutan wheels until they started making their own stuff. But yeah, the Vanguard came out. I think I sold it, sadly enough. I don't know what I was thinking. I bought a Sector 9 after that, and I sold the loaded Vanguard because I had a flex there's like 4 different flex modes on it, so like different bounciness to it. And I got too heavy for it, and I'm definitely too heavy for whatever I had at that point, so I probably need something bigger at that point. But yeah, I remember like bottoming out all the time on my Vanguard. Like there's this one downhill at college that we were doing, and we actually had to go over a speed bump at full speed, and I would like launch off this thing, but it would literally bounce, and I'd come down and like just like bottom of the board, and I was like, I gotta find something stiffer. So that's when I picked up my Sector 9. I was like, I don't need 2 boards. Lo and behold, I still have like 40 of them. So sad tear into the pour one out of the Vanguard, but I'll probably pick another one of those up. Just get a heavier flex on that.
Yeah, that's cool. I was going to say to you as well, talking about like early days YouTube and content stuff like that, and what was your kind of influence of like what style did you see out there which you were like, I really like the way that's done and I want to put my own spill on content early days? Like where was your inspiration early days with watching content?
Oh, watching Eastgate content?
Yeah.
Fred, Eastgate Unity. So Drew Marr. Do you know him?
I'll have a look. I probably know Drew.
DRU Marr.
Yeah.
And Scott Davies. So like literally like the people that I have become friends with, I was watching it, and like Daniel Kwan, stuff like that. But it was actually Fred, Eastgate Unity, and Fred, I don't know if you remember this. I reached out to you in our first like conversations, and I was like, hey, I have a skateboard. I want to help you film. And you were like, nah, I'm cool, man. I was like, I got a guy who else you film. I was like, all right, cool.
Oh, kick him off the stream. He didn't want you.
I literally said, all right, well then I'm just gonna do this by myself then, and I did, and that's when I put up my first video. So sorry, Fred.
Fred, you created a monster. It could have been even more Unity. There you go.
Yeah,
ultimate.
Yeah,
Unity.
That was so I was watching like the Scott Davies, the Daniel Kwans, the Drew Marr. I was reaching out to him a bunch. Ronnie, what's his name? Sammartino. He had like 190,000 subscribers. So it's just like I started digging through stuff.
No,
it's not a lie.
I'll get rid of it. No, I'll get rid of him. I'll get rid of him. It's fine.
And it was a long time watching those kind of guys, and then so I kind of was like, and I just said I can do this. Like I have all the equipment, and that's where you saw my first video. I was like, I'll just do this myself. So I kind of hopped off there and started watching more stuff, and then I just put my own spin on it. I said, all right, I'll do the talking head points and I'll splice and stuff. And then as it progressed, I wanted to get like funnier. So that's where Dr. Eastgate came in with the first ever was the M-board endurance. That was a joke that I did, and then it went from there. So and the zombie stuff, that's my other stuff. So like I'm a huge fan of like apocalyptic zombie like novels and stuff like that, and I love reading that stuff. So when I had the opportunity with the forest fires that we had in Canada, that the smoke was coming down, and I was like, this is kind of like a perfect setting.
About that.
Yeah, perfect setting for a zombie apocalyptic thing, and I've always had this in my head. So we went out and filmed with my one of my friends, and I got to do that, and that's kind of where I wanted to like differentiate myself as well too. It's like I can show like I can do review stuff, but also can do like cinematic, like full length movie, almost shorts. So, and there's a new one coming out, so stay tuned to that.
Yeah, subscribe to Dre, get that out, coming out soon. That's good. I was going to say to you as well, like obviously the grind is continually grinding, obviously, which is fine. But I was going to ask you as well, like early days companies with like sponsorship and engagement, obviously Beyond Riders, I don't know obviously history of this, but Beyond Riders, Autobag, stuff like that. Like, how do you find obviously now a lot more successful, getting the engagement, getting good views? Like, do you remember the ones which gave you opportunity at the beginning, and those who were like didn't have the time of day for you?
Yeah.
How does that affect you now?
Everyone had no time for the day for me. So it was you as a content creator. Like again, you have to build your audience. You can't just call a company up and you can't just call a company up or message a company and say, send me a free board, I'll do a review on it. They have no basis or paralysis doing so. So it's like, I've also done marketing. I have a master's in marketing degree, communication, stuff like that. So I was writing out these like really nice, well-formatted like stuff, and I was sending them over to companies, cold emailing everyone. And people said no to me. They're just like, no, we're too busy. Like you don't have any followers, which was true at that point. I mean, on YouTube, I think I had 150, 200 followers, something like that. And like companies like Beyond Riders, Nobleman Tech, and Alter Bags. Alter Bags, actually, I think they sent me a free bag, which was very shocking because that's a really nice quality, expensive bag. And they're like, yeah, we can work together. And they sent that out to me. But Nobleman Tech was like, no, we don't have in our budget, but we'll give you a discount. So there was like 10% off or something like that. I was like, well, I need a helmet anyway, so sure. So I bought that. And then the same thing with Beyond Riders was, it's like, oh, we don't have any budget for anything like that right now, but we'll send you a discount. So it was like the same thing, it was like $10 off or $15 off. So it worked, and then I just kind of started making content, wearing the stuff, repping the things, shouting them out. And with their affiliate programs, people were buying it, and I was getting, $5 kickback. So it was cool. So that's really what it led off to. And then I think that they saw the opportunity to be able to utilize services like my background in filmmaking and be able to make more content as far as like commercials and stuff like that for them. So I've done like you can see like Beyond Riders, every time you get one of their gear now, one of their things, the QR code, if you scan that QR code, it links to their YouTube page. I did all of their work on that YouTube page. So
that's cool, man. That's cool. So it's like, it's a hard thing, because a good thing that I had when I was talking to Fabian, obviously with Onsra, it's like you do think about it from both sides. Obviously you want to do stuff, you want to have the opportunity to kind of create stuff for companies, but the problem is they get bombarded every day by people who are saying they're going to do stuff. Like, let's like a little bit of spiciness on the thing. What's your feeling about people who are in the community who are doing content creators who are just, well, they say they're doing content creators, but they don't make the content, and they kind of, do you feel like those are kind of those aspects where people say I'm going to make content for you and they don't, or there's like held accountable, like I'm going to release this negative video if you don't do A, B, and C? Like, how do you feel about people like that who affect what we do? Trying to obviously just, what's your motivation for doing YouTube, like with that kind of thing, getting people to?
What's the question here? So you're asking me like,
what? So my question is, I'll liberate because I got to went to town. So with, how do you feel that there's obviously people in the community who do like send me stuff, and that kind of affects negatively on like yourself, who are just trying to get more exposure of the community, stuff like that? How do you find dealing with that kind of
you just kind of like, again, it's like let the work speak for itself. Obviously, 12-year-old kid Joe Schmo, 15-year-old kid Joe Schmo from Utah is like, send me a board, and they get like a free board, and they make a video on it, and it gets 23 views. Like, everyone starts somewhere, but I was borrowing boards from people. I was buying boards. I was buying gear. Like, obviously, we don't all have unlimited budgets, and you just have to build your audience up from there. So it's marketing yourself, investing in yourself. Like, all the money I get, I'm pretty much turning right back around and putting back into better production value, better like that. It's like, I'm not getting a free board, riding it for 20 minutes, and then like, shipping it off like 2 minutes later. Actually, you want to see? Like, I have boards stacked upon boards. There we go. Just a fucking disaster. But yeah, it's like I kind of told myself, and you have to make an agreement with the company. It's like, hey, I'm making a video, I'm making social media posts, I'm making this many photos, and it's between you and them. And there are companies, actually, they're going to be remaining nameless right now, that I'm going to put a review on. It's not going to be a fun review for them, and it's kind of like bashing my head against the wall. So yeah, companies out there that are, you work with them and you get stuff done, and they make great products and whatnot. But then there's companies that don't make the best products, and you have to make sometimes shitty reviews on them, and it is what it is. But that's your credibility as a reviewer. Like, if every single board is a thumbs up, okay, like buy it, it's hard. But my quote is, there's a board for everyone. So you can't afford a $3,000 board, but you can afford a $500 board. You have to start somewhere. So it's like being able to recommend stuff and being able to try everything. I don't ever recommend boards I don't try. So if someone's like, oh, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? I'm like, never wrote it. They're like, yeah, but what do you think about it? I'm like, I never wrote it. I can't comment on it. But I have tried this board, and I have this board, and I have this many miles on it. I've experienced it this much time and whatnot. So yeah, whenever someone's asking me about a board I've never tried, I honestly say, I'm like, I can't comment on it. I don't know the ride feel. Yeah, on paper, sure, it looks great. It looks fantastic. But at the same time, I have no idea what it feels like. You could have a totally different concave to it that I hate, or the wheels they chose, the bushing they chose are absolute garbage. Like, it's one of those things where I won't comment on boards that I don't ride. So that's why I try to work companies.
Yeah, I think that's where it's really important, because I feel like I struggle with the thing free board. The reason why I say it, because it makes it sound like I'm how much time does it take to make a video? How much it's it's a sponsored board. That's what it is. I can't make content on what you're doing, because it's, if I don't have the resources to do it. I was going to ask as well, is this coming back to the channel?
Yeah,
we're going to get you on a single real life.
So this was, shout out to Ty. He's out in California now. Sad he had to move from New York to California, but that was his Nicola, and I've always seen these guys ripping through New York City. You watch them online. I watched Kenny. There was a famous YouTuber that was doing the veteran Sherman. So if you know anything about UC, and and he came out. It's got like 50 million views. It's like insane. It was doing like 45-mile-an-hour speeds, and just like he was going upstairs. So I saw that when I was in the whole like one wheel PEV world, and I was like, oh my god, these things are but their price of entry is like thousands of dollars. So it's like a totally different game when you're getting to that. But yes, I'm trying to borrow one. Again, I'm not asking for a free one. I'm just going to go borrow one from a friend.
I just want to shoot it,
and just get it and ride it, because who knows? I tried that one, I loved it, but again, when you start rolling on one, might not be for me, might not be my cup of tea. Boards are one thing, and riding sideways is one way, and riding front ways is a different way, and riding a bicycle or a scooter is a totally different feel. So PEVs, I want everyone on a PEV. What doesn't matter what you're on, just get on an electric mobile personal electric vehicle and start riding. So yeah, I would love to expand the channel and do that.
So obviously coming in, second year now of YouTube, whatnot, where do you want to be going next with what you're creating and making going forward, like devices, whatever it is? What have you got, like any? I think you put up an Instagram post a little while ago, like, what do you want to see next for the channel? And like me being greedy, I'd love to see like a big event project or anything like that, like I did the coast to coast or anything like that. Is there any other things like that, or any other like stretch goals without obviously giving away your secrets to the group?
Just a broad list of things is, yes, I in my head have a plan to do something similar to what you did, which is a very long stretch of riding, and do that. I don't know how that's going to happen, but it's a very good pipe dream. My second is I'm going to start, I think, building my own DIY board and start piecing together my own DIY board, because as much as I love reviewing production boards and getting these like fully assembled boards, there's a huge other part of the community that are all of these hardcore, tech spec DIY builders that I want to also be able to reach out to and be able to get knowledge, because I don't have the best knowledge as far as like building my own board. I know how to ride, I know how it feels and whatnot, but I want to be able to like learn basic programming. I want to learn how to assemble batteries and stuff like that. So maybe the battery thing I'll probably be doing under trained eye professional. Maybe I'll do like one little weld on it, but otherwise I'll probably be letting that go to a professional builder. But yeah, so I think that's like my next few goals is to expand there. A couple more cinematic things with the zombie stuff is in the pipes, and just more content as far as like fun things planned with more people, and hopefully we get get everything going and then ready for Eastgate Con for 2024. Massive thing there.
Let's go back to Eastgate Con, because it seems to be it's the fun little thing. What obviously I'm going to say about the boys. I'm going to ask, what do you want for Eastgate Con next year? Like, what is the goal?
What's our plan? What's our goal for the like? What do I have?
Well, yeah, personally, not like reveal what we're going to be doing, because we need to actually sit back down and talk about that. But like, what kind of things do you want for Eastgate Con next year? I think.
I think they did a fantastic job running it. I mean, honestly, think about like the qualifying day where the guys from Stooge were able to just like boom, 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 and rocket out 100 people in like a few hours to get their times going.
Yeah, a lot of people. Definitely.
Yeah, a lot. Just it was a massive amount of spectators and riders that were there, and and then all of the vendors and like that going through all that stuff. It was just a massive undertaking. So I think, it would be cool to see obviously a little bit better of a track, in the sense of like not just like the triangles on the ground. Like I think that maybe like having a bigger track, having a better spectator area where they could have something along those lines that way. I've been talking to the guys like Mike and James and Jacob over at M Boards. So we've been bouncing ideas back and forth to each other, but they'll do everything in their power to make this thing as cool as possible. And I think
they do an amazing job. They really have.
The group rides, which I think we can all agree on, was equally, if not better than anything else as far as the race goes. Like the race was great, but like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think I was there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Those group rides at the end of by Saturday, I was like, I could have gone home and been fine. Like I would have been like so satisfied with the week at that point. I think the Eastgate Con, like this part here and everything like that, was great. Yeah, 11 years ago, flowing hair in the wind. So I had hair down like here. I had like man buns. It was bad.
It was bad. Amazing. Oh, so
something happened here.
What about? Oh, you can hear me? Am I good? No?
Lost audio.
You lost audio. Why have you lost audio?
Oh, hold on.
All right. Hello? Can anyone comment in the chat if you can hear me?
Pause.
Let me just
pause me for a second, or take me off for a second.
Oh, okay. Right. So yeah. So Drew's got a headset issue. It's not me. So guys, thank you for being on the stream so far. We've got about 15 minutes roughly left of the live stream. So you have any questions you want to talk about in the group, please put in. We've got some really cool stuff coming in, rest on the channel, stuff like that. What we're going to talk about next is obviously things we're planning for Eastgate Con. So if you guys got any suggestions, please put them in, because next year we've got some really cool. I don't want to give away too much. We've got some ideas, seeing the community more and more. Drew, if you're okay to come back, give me a thumbs up and I'll pull you back in. No, it's not yet. So he's still working on his. But yeah, it's just. It's good. I'll bring him back in. You okay, Drew?
Back?
Yeah, you're here.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I still can't hear you.
You can't hear me. I can hear you. Right. Okay. 1 second. I can hear you.
Technical difficulties here.
1 second. Okay. All right. Audio. That's what. Hello? Mute.
Can you hear me? There we go.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right, I changed my headset. All right, sorry. Okay.
Well, that was on me. My son's downstairs on my iPad, and it clicked over, and all of a sudden I'm hearing like Tubby's playing. I don't know what the hell it was playing in my ears. I'm yelling downstairs to turn off the thing.
Sorry,
family.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it's definitely love it. I was going to say to you as well about the Eastgate Con question. So obviously the event. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. My question is to you: the build-up for the week. Is there anything particularly that you want to do, or want to look out for the week?
Well,
Build up
yeah.
to Eastgate Con.
I think the Wolfpack is planning on doing a pretty epic trip. Should we say something like that, or?
Yeah, let's talk about it a little bit. If there's people here, let's why not?
Yeah. So we kind of have this pipe dream to fly out and start in California and meet up with the San Diego crew over there. Eric from Shredlights and Kyle and the whole crew that's out there. And I think maybe potentially from there, drive up to LA, meet up with the LA riders up there. And then from there, I think we're going to make our way over to Vegas, drive across to Vegas and stop along the way and hit a few spots and ride a few things, maybe some challenges and stuff like that. Just make it basically almost like a Top Gear kind of content thing in my head was where I was going.
Yeah.
But we'll see if that actually plays out or not.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I feel like what we should do is now we'll talk about it a little bit. We'll talk to the boys about it. We should do that, but we should have scavenger hunt of things you have to do throughout the whole week. Yeah. I can hear, but okay, cool. We're also good. We can hear. Cool.
There is I think it's called King of the Road and Thrasher magazine. I forget what it is. It's a skateboard magazine that puts it on. And it's King of the Road, and they pin like Baker against like different companies like Powell and stuff like that. And all these like the company riders, they all get in like vans and they do these things like around. They start in like Seattle and they'll drive across. And they'll hit all these spots, and it's the same thing. It's like a binder. It's like do a kickflip over a garbage can in the rain or something like that, or it's like eat like 10 tacos and throw up like I don't know, something like that. But, yeah. It was like I want to say it was called King of the Road or something. I gotta look that up. But yeah, every year they're coming out with those, and I mean it would be great to have something like that where it's like we have the crew of everyone kind of riding out there, and being able to stop on the way and do like scavenger stuff. It's like who can, exactly scavenger hunt.
Yeah, that sounds like a great laugh. I've got a question for me. Just sorry, Drew, I know it's your stream, but someone asked me what.
I don't comment on boards I've never ridden, so go for it.
Yeah, so yeah, you have no opinion, how dare? So I'm doing just a quick one about the Onser Velar. I am going to be hopefully finish the video today to post next couple of days. I've said that now. Now it's a commitment. But yeah, the Velar is really, really nice. It's a bit like the best way of describing it is an urban mountain board is the best way to describe it. So you can use it for off-road and street, but it's really, really nice. But I don't want to take up too much of the stream. But yeah, it's really good. The reviews coming out soon. I've got some more stuff coming. But overall, I think it's a very unique perspective. So what else? So what's your favorite board at the moment? Your go-to? I mean, what you seem to ride the most, which isn't a review worky board. As in, like I just old reliable.
Yeah, so that's my problem. Is like I always end up riding my review boards for like 2 weeks at a time, and that just becomes my daily driver. How about this? I'll say the most shocking board of the
worst.
The worst?
Is that when you said shocking? I was like,
no.
Jesus.
Shocking in the sense of no. I'm not going to talk about. I'm going to put a review out on the board that I've had issues with, but the most shocking board I've been on that I didn't know how I was going to react with it is the Ace Deck Aries X3, the 4-wheel direct drive board. Because the only experience I have with direct drive was actually out in Vegas, which was riding the Transite boards, and I rode that very briefly around the track, and I've never felt that free roll power that was out there.
Yeah.
So when Ace Deck came out with this board and they sent it out to me, and the whole split angle design, free rolling, that is an electric skateboard. Like a PEV that's got like the 14S3P and everything like that. That is the most downhill board, fast board I've ever ridden. That also is like skateboard feeling. I think they did a really good job with it. And That's probably my most shocking. I'm like looking around. So like my most shocking boards. Then then I have like the X-Way Atlas Pro, which is like the literal Swiss Army knife of the world. It's got everything from a 1,000-watt charger to another strap-on aux pack to the gear drives to everything else underneath there. I love riding that thing. The Nomad, the Hoyt UAV I still have, and I've been riding that around too. But like, then I also love my shortboards. Like it's the summer of the Mini. I said it so many times over and over again. The summer of the Mini. So I still ride the X-Way Wave. I still ride the Mini. I still for the Stella Mini, the tiny Mini 3 Pro, which is an absolute. That's like they took the Explorer battery or whatever, the Explorer vest, and just put inside this thing, and it's a board that does 37 miles an hour on a Mini. I'm just like, that's nuts to me. Like it's insane. So I love everything for different reasons. But I would say that the one that I was most shocked by, I wasn't going to be sure that I was going to feel was that Acetec X3. So that 4-wheel drive board's pretty fun, and the power of the Nomad was also mind blowing. Like that much power to come off the line was pretty insane. So, and the X1, which I'll be putting that video out today.
I promised from the list. So obviously that's what you're riding currently. Say any company will work with you, whatever you wanted. Is there one particular PEV out there, doesn't matter what it is, which you'd be like, if they went, you'd love to feature for your channel, which you haven't covered yet?
I really want to ride an EUC.
Well, you want to go to ride an EUC comfortably and confidently, is that what it is?
Yeah, so like the veteran Patton, the new InMotion, like the EUCs, like those just intrigue me. And I think the reason why they're so intriguing is because the learning curve was so much more steeper than a one-wheel or an e-skate or like a scooter or a bicycle, because you've ridden all those things in your entire life. To be able to hop on something that challenged me, and like that video you showed before when I was riding around the parking lot, that was like probably 5 minutes after me like sweating profusely, like core strength, my legs, my feet are like on there. I'm just like trying not to fall, and I'm going forward and backwards. It was just like, yeah. So I think that because I'm such a creature of wanting to learn and always want like different knowledge of different things. So I think the EUC is probably like, if someone came to me tomorrow and was like, hey, like we want to let you run the EUC, I'd be like, yes, 100%. Because like the e-bikes are cool, like the Supras and the Onyx bikes and stuff like that. Those are great. But I've ridden motorcycles my entire life. I've built motorcycles my entire life. So it's like that form factor for me has already been there. And obviously skateboards are great, and scooters are cool too. But yeah, I really think the EUC, I just got to bite the bullet eventually one day and just pick one up. But I think that's a really cool PEV that I would love to step out of the realm and go that route.
I'm just thinking about when you're saying about you. I've actually got my. I know it's not your show, but I remember me first trying it in motion. Yeah. I was absolutely terrified trying to ride.
Like you're going 2 miles an hour and you're screaming like.
It's so funny. It's such a stupid thing to. I think it is. It's resetting and starting again. I was like, lid on. Yeah. What's that?
It's just such a unique way of getting around. Like I know we look like we're goofballs on them, right? Like because you ride full padding because there's no protection. Like you're falling. Falling. There's not 3 other wheels. Like if a wheel blows out, there's not 3 other wheels to save you. But if this thing goes down, you're going down. So you're wearing full motorcycle gear, like everything on you is like Kevlar, everything, and full padding, and you're. These wheels go stupid fast. I mean, I think the V13 or whatever, they do like 60 miles an hour or something. So
yeah,
not that I would ever want to go that fast on something like that, but just like for me, my idea is like to be able to get on one of those things and comfortably cruise like that 25 mile an hour range and be like comfortable back and forth carving. So I would love to try one, hold one for a little while, and like I said, it's gonna end up picking one up, my one, stepping outside the realm of that. Yeah, I think that's probably my go-to choice right now.
Yeah, it's such a different perspective as well, riding something in a brand new way as well. Yeah, I totally agree. I remember it was such a terrifying experience going forward. I was going to ask you as well, obviously, family is core of everything you do. You always talk about your kid and your wife and whatnot like that. Obviously, I said this before, and I feel like there's chapters in PEVs and e-skate and stuff like that, and I feel like, we're not going to be the ones who are doing mad stuff. It's the next generation because technology is there. Like, is there a hope for you that you want your kids to be involved in PEVs going forward?
My son rides. He'll ride with me, so he'll stand in between me and he'll ride with me. And he's pretty fearless when it comes to that. Like I can do like 15. He's fully geared up, helmet and everything on. But we'll do like 15, 20 miles an hour on that thing, and I'm like carving just like I would because I want him to surf and snowboard with me. And so I want him to like get those feelings. So I'm like, I'm explaining like your heel edge, your toe edge, and I'm like, I always reference it back to pretty much snowboarding. I did instruction for a while, so it's always like trying to teach him to that. So, and he's gotten on it by himself. He's ridden by himself. It's like mode 1. He goes like 1 mile an hour, and he's like enjoying himself. My daughter is fearless already. She literally sits in these things, and she's like, go. I'm like, I go forward, and she's like, go backwards, and I go backwards. We're in our like living room. She wants to stand up on Shredder as well too, and I'll hold her, and I won't go as fast, obviously, but I'll hold her, and I see her being very close to right next to me, very soon, shredding next to me. So I think that's really cool. And my wife, she and I used to push board together, longboard together, and she's gonna kill me. I don't know if she's watching this, she's gonna kill the story, but so we were. We used to ride push boards together all the time, and we were out drinking at a friend's house, and all of a sudden we were coming back, and she refused to ride in front of me. I wanted her to ride in front of me because I was like, you've been drinking, I want to make sure you're okay. She's like, no, I'm fine. So she was behind me. So I'm riding, I go through this intersection, there's no cars, and all of a sudden I hear her scream from behind me, and I'm like, no. I jump off the board, I turn around, and she's standing there and just standing there like totally fine. And all of a sudden I look across, and my brand new Sector 9, I think it was, board is sereening across the intersection and just right into a car.
Oh no.
And she like, I guess she lost her balance and just jumped off, but she like didn't like wasn't able to get it, and thank God she had the
just flung off.
It just flung off and smacked it. And I lost it because I was just like, I want you to run in front of me. What's wrong with you? And I don't think she like literally says to this day, she's like, I'll never get on another skateboard because you yelled at me so much.
Oh my God.
So she's ridden a few of these of the electric skateboards, and she likes them. So I'd love for her to get further into them as well too. But she's like, we have 2 kids. What are we gonna do? I'm not gonna strap both of them to me and ride off. So we'll figure that out. Next step. Who knows?
Next goal.
Maybe get an e-bike with one of those cargo things in the back to drag them.
Yeah, for sure. Or you can do it on a board. I've seen it on boards as well. You can do boards as well.
Yeah, I've seen people do it. I've seen a few people do it. They hook them up with those bicycle things in the back there and drag them behind. It's pretty cool.
Cool. Right, so we've got about less than 5 minutes left. Always leave the last 5 minutes to my guest and the community. So if anyone's got any other questions, please throw it in. Is there anything else you want to talk about or announce or highlight in the last few minutes of the stream? Or get off your chest?
No. I mean, yeah, I got reviews coming out. I appreciate the audience and stuff like that for checking out the channel and things like that and supporting me in that sense. It's been growing, and I'm hoping to grow it more and be able to communicate more with you guys. I love reading the comments. I'm always, chit-chatting with people. If you can't message me on YouTube and you have a direct question, DE_drones on Instagram is the easiest way to message me, and I will definitely get back to you in that sense. To be able to chat about it, because I have a ton of people who are like, "What's the best board?" And I'm like, what's your board? What's best for you? So I think that if you have those kind of questions, by all means, post them up on there, and I can give you a little YouTube comment there. But I love talking about it and love getting to know what you are and what the kind of rider you are and how experienced you are, and be able to help you guide you in the direction. So I think that's the best part about it. The community is why I'm here. I wouldn't be doing this otherwise. And being able to grow the sport, get people into it. I mean, I'm talking to guys that are 50 years old that have been riding boards when they were younger, and they're trying to get back into this. And I got guys that are 18 years old that are college commuters, and they don't know what to get. So it's that whole range span. It's just awesome to see that style. So I love that. I have merchandise, total plug-in right here. Total plug-in. I have my Wapow gear. Wapow! So yeah, I just did a whole fall line of shit that's on there. It's the Grim Reaper drinking a pumpkin spice latte skateboarding. So Electric Legends is the name of that a clothing company. So check out the YouTube channel or Instagram, and my all the gear is on there too. And there's a discount code up top there as well for you guys. And it's pretty quality stuff. I mean, I like it. So I designed it myself and drop ships it right to your house. I don't have any inventory in my house, so people are always send me a shirt. I'm like, I don't have a shirt to send you. So
yeah. Joe, can you bring some of that stuff to EaseGateCon next year?
Absolutely. So at that point, I'll order a bunch of stuff for myself and get it out there and hand it out to people out there. So 100%. And I think I'll probably end up designing something for our wolf pack. We'll figure something out there to be able to have jerseys or something like that too. I think that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, we need to get race stops done. That's what we need. We need our content crew. That's what it is. That's the way we're going to do it. That's I'm gonna hold on to that. Cool. Right. So we're at time. Thank you so much for being on this stream. Everyone who's watched the whole way through, thank you so much. And people have been asking questions. It's much appreciated.
Of course.
Just a snap one, content guys. Next video is from you is the Aestek
Aries X1 2023. It's actually going to be posting probably next couple hours. I literally finished up editing this morning when I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning. I sat down and started finishing the edit of it. So that will be coming up today, and then a few other boards, some good ones, not so good ones. They'll be coming the next couple of weeks. So
cool. And then from me, I'm going to do the Entre Valar video, working on that.
So excited to see that, man. What an opportunity. I know it's such a brief comment, but what an absolute incredible opportunity for you to fly out to Switzerland, right?
Yeah.
And hang out with Fabian and be able to ride in those conditions and just everything about it. And I think you got to meet like Tilo, right? Tilo was out there.
Yeah, Tilo lives in the UK, but he spent 2 weeks touring Europe because that's what you do. He went out for 4 days, ended up staying in Europe for two weeks. Then, but that was good fun.
Yeah, that's I am beyond excited for your content. I know this is your channel, but like you have been absolutely crushing it. The coast to coast challenge is just like absolutely fantastic. Your reviews have been fantastic. So guys, if you are watching this and you're someone that's here for me, go ahead and check out Thomas's channel, please, and subscribe to that because he's been pumping out incredible content and doing some really, really fun stuff there as well. So
I'm going to share one small thing on this last question. I'm going to wrap up after this about any long distance rides, and just because it's so relevant for you and me, Drew, because we spoke to, if you guys have not seen the 8 to 8 documentary with Carrie, absolutely beautiful, amazing journey in the video. And I think if you watch it, get the message, but then also forward the message to people who aren't involved in our community, because I feel like I use that documentary as an insight to people in my family who don't understand what we do and say this is why we do it, so that's really good. And the point of that is I know you spoke to me and obviously spoke to you, Drew. I was hoping to we're potentially going to do something obscenely insane, which I'm not going to share because it's too much detail. But it would be what I did times 1,000, to be honest.
If he actually accomplishes that would be a great part to be a part of that journey. So
so hopefully me and Drew might be part of that, depending on what happens, but that's all up in the air. But anyway, we'll wrap it up on that teaser, make it all fun. Thank you everyone who's been on the live stream. Drew, it's obviously a great chat meeting up. Hopefully you get the rest of Wolfpack up. Give us some downtime today before we crank out some more content, because it's never ending for you. You've got more energy than me.
What about you and me? We maybe potentially should we announce something like that, or we're not sure yet?
What's that? I forgot.
October.
If I say it, I got
teaser. Yeah, teaser.
Go on, Drew.
No, teaser. We'll leave it at that. We'll talk about it on Instagram Live or something like that. We have a teaser. Something's cooking in the works. It might be pretty cool. So
maybe logistics is a thing. We'll see how we do. Yeah, we'll see how we do. Anyway, wrap it up now. Overtime. Thank you so much for everyone watching. Absolute pleasure having you. Great having such great friends in the community and a fellow brother in the content scene. So pleasure having you on the stream, Drew. So wrap it up. Thank you everyone who's watching, and I'll see you guys on the next stream. Peace.